This is Things You Might Not Have Heard. I am Jay Cleveland Payne, and I am ready to present to you yesterday's latest in current events, pop culture information, and politics in the news. News that you actually helped us pick out. We are your go-to supplemental source for both mainstream and unconventional news stories that may have been missed by you in the day. Well, not if we give them to you to vet. And we add a little extra context to every story we get a chance to put into the lineup here. If you're watching the video, you see the teaser grab for the day, which is Mark Jackson, the embattled broadcaster, and we have him plus 7 other stories to get to today from yesterday, vetted by U.S. Conversational and curated by me into this headline reading thing here. And yesterday we got a little giggly because things turned into silly relationship stuff. Today we have a whole lot of serious, so bear with us. It's going to be pretty heavy going on today. Now we'll explain the vetting process, how you got these stories into the headlines, and some fun stuff coming along the way at the end, so stay tuned for all of that. In the meantime, check out our website. This is theconversationproject.com for more details on how we do this every single day, how it works out, how you make this thing work for us, and how you're just great in general. Today happens to be Thursday, November 16, 2023. We are a week away from Thanksgiving in America, and one more day to give you some headlines right here. So let's get into those headlines for this morning. First headline for this morning reads like this. 8 teens arrested in fatal beating of Las Vegas high school students. 8 teenagers were arrested on Tuesday on suspicion of murder in connection with the death of Jonathan Lewis, 17, who was fatally beaten near Las Vegas High School. The beating took place near Rancho High School. 8 people were arrested on Tuesday, of course, helped by FBI agents. At least 2 other people are believed to have been involved in the attack and have been identified. Johnson said the fight was over stolen headphones. That's being the police agent who spoke for the actual case, and possibly stole a marijuana vape pen. He was attacked while defending his friend, who essentially was the person they accused of stealing it. Now, this is a story we tried to talk about yesterday in TikToks and YouTube Shorts, but we had some issues with recording it. The audio just was not transferring well, and so we spent literally 4 takes on this and then just had to give it up. The big issue I brought with this was I heard about this story on Tuesday night from Dan Abrams. I'm watching Dan Abrams' show, and he raised a question because it was 8 juveniles, and so they weren't initially identified, but the 8 juveniles were black, and the one juvenile, the 8-17 who died, was white. This was not getting a lot of attention in the news and had been a story in Vegas for quite some time. Was that an issue, that race was really an issue in that? And I wanted your opinion on that in the short. If you want to give me your opinion here in the comments here, that's fine. We're going to move on from that one because we'll see how this plays out going forward. But this is one that I really want to get into yesterday, and it just could not, technology was not cooperating with us yesterday on this one. Next story, and trust me, they all go pretty along these lines here. Gilgo Beach suspect Rex Heuermann's estranged wife goes to court for first time. Heuermann was, of course, arrested in July for the murders of Melissa Bethany, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello. Also suspects in many other murders, specifically one for Maureen Brainerd Barnes and some unsolved ones that they're kind of piecing together right now. His estranged wife is visit him in court for the first time ever. That's Elsa Ellerup. Now she's getting divorced, filed for divorce 6 days after the arrest. And it was, of course, the story was written right there. She has visited him in jail a few times with lawyers. This is the first time she's visited him on the trial setting since this whole thing began. We go to Mark Jackson, and we go to Mark Jackson, who's having a very, very bad year. Per the write-up on Total Sport, Pro Sports, and just in general where you're seeing these things. Mark Jackson has been fired from the Knicks. He had the job as a broadcaster for the Knicks' internal programming, and he's been barred from being on the team playing. Now, of course, earlier in this year, he was fired from ESPN along with a massive amount of people. So a lot of people sat on that day, and his job as one of the main commenters on NBA games taken over by Doris Brooke, which of course had a lot of people in their feelings. Him losing his job, that's Mark Jackson with his sidekick, one of the brothers, coaching brothers, brain breaking right now. So apologies for that. It has been a big shocker going forward. What's going on right now? Wally Zerbiak is filling in for Frazier, who Mark Jackson was filling in for at the moment. We'll see how this plays out, whether Mark Jackson will actually push forward with what's going on, going from Jeff Van Gundy. Now it comes to be Jeff Van Gundy, not Stan, Jeff. Jeff Van Gundy and Mark Jackson, the team with Mark Breen on ESPN. That, of course, no longer now. Mark Jackson no longer doing it for the Knicks for MSG. Woman shocked to discover Alaska isn't actually an island. Now, this seems like a really dumb article, and it kind of is, but a woman says she didn't realize that Alaska was connected by land and that it was possible to drive to it from the United States and Canada, because it's connected to Canada, until she had a conversation with her Canadian boyfriend who said, yeah, it's right over there. Now, the biggest issue with this is the woman thinks that the education system in the United States is broken. A lot of people think the education system in the United States is broken, but because maps of the U.S. show the continental U.S. all together because they're connected, plus in the left-hand corner, usually a kind of cutout where there's Hawaii there and Alaska there, she assumed, because she went through 12 years of high school, 12 years of education in America, that Alaska was an island to the south of California, somewhere out past Mexico, even though it gets really, really cold there, and that doesn't make even a damn bit of sense. I really can't. I really can't. So she put up a thing on the YouTube, on the video thing, on the TikTok. 800,000 times it's been viewed, and people are commented, baffled by the fact that she is literally that dumb. We're just going to leave it at that. California program to lease land under freeways faces scrutiny after major Los Angeles fire. Oh, yes, seriously, yes. The state of California was going to lease land under the Los Angeles freeway because it's there. I mean, it's federal land, or it's state land, because the freeway, it's owned by the state because they manage the interstate system. So all that land there has to be managed by highway departments. So it's there, and they were going to lease it out to various people for use because it's just right there for the taking, essentially. Then someone set fire to a interstate, a major interstate for California, Highway 10, or Interstate 10, I should say. And all hell broke out loose because, one, people can't get to work, and two, the plan to lease out land for other people to burn things under the freeway is an issue. We'll see how this one plays out going forward, obviously. This is a very sad one that brings in my alma mater, Louisiana Tech, into the light, which in a very bad way. This was put out there as a national story in USA Today, not in any local edition, not in any regional edition, but USA Today put it out with the headline: "After a random act of violence, Louisiana Tech stabbing victim Annie Richardson dies." I'm gonna go through this kind of quick, but kind of detailed, so bear with me. Police arrested Jacoby Johnson, a 23-year-old senior at the university, after an attack on an outside walkway in the parking lot. Johnson was charged with 4 counts of attempted second-degree murder. Victims were a class instructor, 3 class attendees, and a non-student. A week before the attack, Johnson issued a report was issued on issues were report on Johnson's were reported by local authorities. Nothing was picked up with it. Ruston Mayor Ronnie Walker responded to the stabbings on the campus of Louisiana Tech University on Monday. School called it a random act of violence and said it would feel the pain of the incident for some time. We were going to see how this one plays out. It's not a great story. This is one that I'm not so shocked that it pulled the attention it did for your engagement, but I'm shocked that it happened as it did. This was literally people leaving class at the Lambright Sports Complex, something I'm well known of for, going to college there, playing basketball with my buddies from the gym, just hitting the gym, and people leaving a class where this person attacked 5 people, one of them died. Thoughts are going out to the city, thoughts are going out to the family, and of course we will see how this one plays out because you engaged in it. As we get updates, we'll let you know. Let's get a little bit better, things that are a bit more happy. Starting off with this headline: artist completes incredible portrait of Tiger Woods made out of 225,000 golf tees. He literally took a bunch of different golf tees and made this big portrait, which isn't an oil painting. It's not some sort of canvas per se. He just plugged in golf tees, 25,000 of them, to make that work. 6 weeks to get this all done, placing tee after tee after tee in the frame. We finally reach out this one. Big guy wins big over his hatred of go-go music. Baltimore man indirectly won $100,000 from his dislike from go-go music. He is a former Baltimore City police officer named Kenneth Matthew from Laurel, Maryland. Won $100,000 playing a $30 scratch-off game. Bought the winning ticket at an Exxon in Capitol Heights, which of course that store gets $1,000 for selling the ticket. It comes from just basically his love, or more or less his hate, of the go-go rhythms and the stylings. He just doesn't like it, and so he just kind of bought the scratch-off ticket that was themed that way out of just spite. Won $100,000 for it. There you go. Apologies, errors, and omissions for the day. We're going to do a quick drop in with Jason Aldean and Kid Rock, who are going to hit the roads, some very small roads, with the Rock the Country tour, very small towns. They're going to do this. I believe it's kicking off fairly soon. So check out the links to go deeper into this one. But Jason Aldean, of course, try that in a small town, and Kid Rock, who's Kid Rock, are going to hit some small towns and do some pretty big shows with those towns going forward. If you think you're on the list, check it out. You might get a treat, or in this case, it's Kid Rock, so it may be a trick based on how you feel about that. Let's talk about our teaser story for the day, which gives us a chance to talk about the feeds and how they work for the Conversation Project. This is conversationproject.com is our online home, but you want to find us on our feeds so you can actually engage in the stories that we chat up every single day. In fact, that's how we know what stories to chat up. You engage in the stories, and the higher the score it gets, better chance we have of talking about it on a show like this. Tomorrow is Friday, so we have one more show this week where we'll give you 8 headlines that were from the top 15 engaged stories of today, being Thursday, and we'll present them to you in this form, and of course the audio form for the clip that, and of course the links in the newsletter comes out at 6:20 every single morning. If you just want the newsletter, look for the links at our website. We'll explain that in a minute, and just subscribe, and at 6:20 in the morning you get the links to these top stories that you say are top stories, more or less. Headline for today, in the tease at least, because we had such a heavy day, we just went with this one. Today's 20 most popular Thanksgiving recipes from all-star chefs. Today's with a apostrophe S. So that's today's show. They're bringing in 20 top all-star chefs to do Thanksgiving recipes, starting essentially yesterday, coming in as we are today, a week from Thanksgiving. Get in your works for getting all your base recipes. If you're looking to try something new this year, today's show may have something for you in this week. And this is one I'm not expecting to be all that engaging, but enough of you will click it out because I know I'm a recipe nut online, so you can see what's going on there. If you want to engage in any story we have, go to our feeds on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook.com/this is a conversation project, and Twitter.com or X.com this th_conversation. Engage in a story. Just hit like, love, hate, share. The higher the score it gets, better chance we have of talking about it on Friday, on Monday, in the weekend shows. The higher engagement we get, the better chance we have of talking about it with the y'alls out there. Let's talk about our sponsor we're highlighting for today, and that is Fundrise, a new way to get into fundraising. A new way to get into investing is through Fundrise. Fundrise opened up as a way to get into real estate investing into various different type of funds that essentially manage the funds for you. I'm still in my original real estate fund from Fundrise. But Fundrise has actually opened itself up to other types of funds and has absolutely opened itself up to an IPO that is going live very soon. I think you may have missed out the chance of getting shares of IPO, but Fundrise is another way to invest just literally out of your pocket, in the palm of your hands, in your phone. You can look for various funds with various different diverse types of offerings and make money from it. You don't have to go through a broker. Now, remember, the biggest thing is, even go through a broker, you can lose money, and money can be lost with this fund as well, with this thing as well. So make sure you taking good care of yourself and doing some research on what's going on. But the biggest thing about Fundrise is they're extremely good at letting you know what's going on. They get quarterly updates in newsletter forms. They also tell you when my thing is specifically for, because it's all real estate, when things are bought, when things are sold, how things are managed. So you get a lot of information what's going on. So you're not left in the dark. And like I said, in 2022, when I got into Fundrise, before I even had them as a sponsor, I lost no money with my investments for the entire year. Full year of investing into real estate without losing a single dime. That's pretty awesome, I think. Check it out at thisisAconversationproject.com/fundrise. This is aconversationproject.com/fundrise. This is an affiliate link, so if you get the app, install the app, and put something in, guess what? we get a small commission back for you. So thank you so much in advance for checking them out and just checking out any of our sponsors because they all help us keep things going on here. In the meantime, thank you for going to our website. This is theconversationproject.com and checking out what we do for the Conversation Project. All day, every day, every 50 minutes, we're posting news stories as a part of the main mission of the Conversation Project to gather intel from you on stories that are conversational, stories that are worth talking about. We present them to you daily here in Things You Might Have Heard on the weekends, which comes up in a couple days with the weekly wrap up and some things that go along with that, and little snippets of news stories to gauge your engagement in the shorts throughout the day, throughout every single day. You help us make that work. So go to our feeds and engage and give us those stories to talk about. Go to your email. Email us at theconversationinbox@gmail.com and let us know what we can do to improve on the work we're doing. And maybe stop by our partnerships page. See if there's some ways we can partner up to do things together. Excuse me, better. Get things going on with your direct help. The free stuff is great. Make sure you're engaging in the stories because that's how we get the stories to talk about. But the more help you want to give to us, we will gladly take it. And we thank you in advance for all that. Right now, let's get to the wrap up. The wrap up means the fun stuff. Fun stuff for this morning includes birthdays. They always include birthdays. They always start with birthdays. And today we're shouting out Pete Davidson, who's 30 years old on the day. Normally we would go with the big one, I would say, and go with one of my my all-time favorite future ex-wives, Lisa Bonet, but I think she's actually married right now. So there's that. I'm also married too, so that does make that complicated. But she is 56. But we're just going to shout out Pete Davidson because he's in the news. He's big time. He's doing big stuff right now. So he's a bit more relevant, as the kids would say. We're going to give Lisa Bonet some love anyway. 2022, going way, way back to all of last year. More than 2 million tickets were sold for Taylor Swift's tour, the most ever sold for an artist in a single day. Yes, we cannot escape Taylor Swift, even a day when Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce aren't doing something cutesy. Today, a year ago, she did something by herself, and now we're talking about it. Also, let's talk about today's celebration. Use Less Stuff Day. November 16th is a day to think about or celebrate minimalism. If you are a minimalist, you can go out there and tout it to the world. If you're not, you can think about it. Essentially, using less stuff, having less waste, having less things around you so you have less negative energy from those things. Look for it online. Use Less Stuff Day is today, November 16th, the third Thursday of every November. And I think it's kind of going hand in hand with yesterday when we talked about cleaning out your refrigerator today, as we are preparing for Thanksgiving, and there's lots of stuff around that. But really, we're preparing for Christmas and all the extra stuff you're going to get. So today is a day to think about as you are preparing for next week's festivities to buy a bunch of stuff. Maybe you need less of the stuff around. Just a thought. And not a thought, we are done. It is true. It is over. We have wrapped up our show for this Thursday, November 16, 2023. Thank you so much for being a part of Things You Might Have Heard for today. Whether you're watching us live, kicking things off at 5:50 a.m. Central Time on the internets, or watching a video on replay, listen to the audio on podcast later on, or even just reading the links. And yes, when you read the links, you can click a button and then watch the video. It all actually makes sense. We thank you so much for being a part of the show, being a part of the program, being a part of the family. You make things happen because we can't talk about things unless you tell us kind of what to talk about. Follow us in the feeds and let us know what stories are worthy of being chatted up. Go to our website and learn more about what we do behind the scenes, and maybe stop by our partnerships page or sponsors page and help us along the way. Make sure you're staying limber and staying hydrated and on task for all the grand things. Oh, that's a beautiful sip that you are here to do on this planet. And thank you so much for helping us evolve to where we are today. Wrapping things up for the week tomorrow, and then the weekend stuff happening. But tomorrow, one more edition of Things You Might Have Heard, a Friday edition, and you can help us pick those stories anytime you want to, 24 hours a day, every 50 minutes, new news headlines coming up. So with that, I bid you adieu until tomorrow morning.